being mixed race is it's a unique experience of blackness. I will experience fetishization, a lot of the times from white men who have some kind of fantasy about uh, being with a black girl, but also have colourist and racist ideals that mean they see us as separate from black women. Um, I'm read as black as well, and I face prejudice and racism as a result of that. I've been on the receiving end of explicit racism and constant microaggressions that become a part of daily life, and you only realise that you are on the receiving end of prejudice and bigotry when you explain it to someone who doesn't understand firsthand. And if you want to be an ally, you need to be able to acknowledge your privilege, and you need to keep listening and keep being ready to learn. Something that really kind of struck a chord with me a few days ago, I was on Twitter and I saw a tweet kind of this girl was expressing how she wanted to be referred to as a black woman rather than a person of colour, because the black experience is so specific, and it can't be generalised with the experience of other people of colour, even though obviously there are some things that are shared. Racism obviously is an umbrella term. The black experience is different. And in light of that, because I don't think before I minded, and I was quite happy to interchange between terms, person of colour, BAME, black, like, I was quite happy to. But I think in light of that, it did really resonate with me, and I think from here on out, I will be referring to myself as a black woman. I identify as mixed race. I mostly refer to myself as mixed race, but when we're really getting down to the nitty gritty, I am a black woman, and that is my experience. That is how I'm read by people. So, in terms of the murder of George Floyd and everything that's followed, incredibly distressing content. And I would definitely say, if you are black, please take the time for self-care. Please take the time to do something nice, to do something fun, to do something stupid, because it is a lot. It is a lot to cope with, to be bombarded constantly with content of people who look like you suffering because they look like you, and that's it. That is a kinship. That is a familial bond between these strangers just based on that. And please take some time. Please take some time to look after yourself. And also remember that educating others is not your cross to bear, and don't let anyone make you feel like it is. I obviously want to have conversations with my friends. I want to help my friends be better people. That's what friendship is. But there's a difference between having those conversations with my friends and kind of suggesting ways in which they can help. But it is a very unique experience, the black experience. And just little things that pass other people by are just a part of your reality. And I literally saw a tweet only a few minutes ago that was literally like, we live a political life. Anyone in a marginalised group lives a political life, not through choice. To constantly be met with interactions with white people where they can just go, oh, I didn't think of it like that. That's a luxury. That's a privilege. And just things that you would never even think you had to call out. I do have a little anecdote on the topic. I moved to Leeds for uni when I was 18, and I live in East London, very multicultural. So privileged to have had that experience. Like, wouldn't change it for anything, because that's how I would want my children to be brought up, to think that multiculturalism is the norm. And I went to Leeds, and obviously the student area is multicultural to an extent. It's a very popular university, but Leeds itself isn't, I wouldn't say it's particularly diverse. And I made friends with a girl called Abby, who is also mixed race, basically the same heritage. She's half Nigerian, half white. And we kind of quickly became accustomed to the fact that every time we went out, white people would touch our hair. It's so weird and it's so appallingly offensive. If you don't know what a microaggression is, look it up. Don't touch my fucking hair. But we just couldn't fathom it. Like, why was this happening? Like, every time we went out, particularly if we went to places where people were like really fucking drunk, I'd turn around, someone would be pouring at my head, and I'd be like, what the fuck? And they'd just be like, oh, it's so lovely. It's mine, it's my hair on my head. And I remember we were on a night out, we were bitching about it in the toilets because we were just sick of it by this point. We'd only been in Leeds for like a couple of months and it was really like a problem. And this white girl that came out the toilets and she was like washing her hands. She was like, oh sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. And initially I was thinking like what's the big deal? And then I was thinking, actually, if someone did that to me, I would hate it. And I was like, yes, obviously you'd hate it, but you've never had to think about it like that. No one's ever going to be, treating you like some kind of artifact. Completely ridiculous. But one thing I can say is I've been absolutely overwhelmed with gratitude for the magnitude of the response to George Floyd's murder and Black Lives Matter in general. It's been incredible, and one thing to really remember is that we can't let the ball stop rolling. We can't lose momentum. We can't lose sight of how important this is, because black people can't tap in and out of whether or not our existence is trendy or not. That's our reality. And if you are a non-black person of colour, but specifically if you are a white person, you have the privilege and you have the platform to amplify our voices, to amplify the voices of black people, and to help. And so, yeah, I will suggest some ways that I recommend helping. I personally will not be telling anyone to donate or protest, because I personally think those two things are very much at your discretion. Donations only if you're financially in a position to do so, and obviously no one's really working at the moment, so that's obviously at your discretion. And protesting, I am aware of the current climate. Please put your health and the health of your family, like your household, please consider that, obviously. But they are absolutely excellent ways to show solidarity and support if you can do so. Check in on your friends, check in on your black friends, because this is traumatic on a level that you can't even fathom if it's not. It's traumatic news, full stop. So if you have that level of connection to the actual incident, it's traumatic on a level you couldn't understand. So please check your friends are okay. Check that your friends are all right. Please have the conversations offline. Dump your racist boyfriend. To call out your racist uncle. Please keep the conversations going offline. That is, because that's the support that is. Online support is incredible and it needs to keep going. But put your money where your mouth is. Continue it offline, please. Make sure you're having those difficult conversations. Do your research. One thing that's really a good idea to look into is supporting black-owned businesses, making some swaps to black-owned businesses. That's something I'm going to be looking into doing myself. We all have so much that we could be doing. I'm definitely going to be looking into making some changes myself. Read. Obviously, Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race should be a must-have on your bookshelf. Excellent read. Please read it. I cried all the way through. It's brilliant. Sign petitions, because our voices matter most en masse, and petitions are a great way to show that you're involved. Write to your MP. We're writing to demand a significant reaction from Parliament condemning the police's use of force in the US that led to George Floyd's murder, and also the sale of tear gas, rubber bullets, and I think it was the shields. to the US, make sure you're sharing content on your social media, providing links, making sure that everyone has access to as much information as possible. And also in regards to educating, I would say pick your battles, because there's two ends of the spectrum in my opinion. It is brilliant to have these conversations with your friends. Share as much content as you can with your friends. Educate each other. Kind of boost morale talking amongst each other. But at what point do you feel that becomes preaching to the choir? Don't only talk to people who agree with you. Don't only talk to them. Do talk to them. It's very important to do so, but don't only talk to them. And on the other hand, people who are so staunchly against you and only want to antagonise, call them out where you can, but don't exhaust yourself talking to them. The people who only want to upset you, the people who don't stand for anything, they only stand against you. They don't think that you're saying white lives don't matter. They just want to upset you. No one's ever said white lives don't matter. Don't let them get under your skin, and don't exhaust yourself. The ones you really want to have the deep conversations with, in my opinion, are the ones who maybe you're kind of not on the same page about a few ideas, or they're they don't really match up with your viewpoint, but they're respectful of your debate. They listen when you talk, and they might actually take something from what you've said. Those are the ones to really, really push for. Ones you actually think are there to learn from you and will learn something. But obviously talk to everybody about it. Keep the conversation going. So please keep on signing and sharing and talking and keeping the ball rolling. And please keep fighting, because it's everyone's fight. It's everyone's fight to change things. Please remember how much Black lives fucking matter.